Alright, I think we are going. Hello guys. Welcome to the round of 16 Map Pool Showcase. I am joined today by the lovely Teezel.
Oh,
Say
I
hello,
still
Teezel.
have the stream on. Okay, that's why I was hearing your voice twice. Hey, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm Teezel. I'm your new host of Joke. We're completely breaking all the rules. I'm just that cool that they wanted me on the team. So here I am, here to present the round of 16 showcase to you.
Player, commentator, and host. He does it all.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, unfortunately Jay couldn't make it, but that's fine. We equate to like one
We don't
Jay.
need him.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, I hope you liked this week's pool. And yeah, let's just get into the next one.
Yeah, we're so over the round of 32. It's all about round of 16 now, and I'll let you introduce this one.
Yeah, when we get... Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I was on the stream. I wasn't watching the... Anyway, Rise 1. We have Minamishida evolved, as opposed to just normal Minamishida. This is the Rise 1, the kind of like consistency Rise that is 180 BPM. So a very comfortable BPM, I would say.
Yeah, so far it looks a bit denser compared to our previous Rice one.
Yeah, definitely. It also has those doublets as was featured in Clay Era, the previous pool.
Perhaps a theme will be going with the Rice ones.
Yeah, and I did see some people kind of tripping up on those.
That's perfect then. Can't have it be too easy.
Of course.
I think it makes a lot of sense to have the evolved Minamashita in this pool. I mean, it's the paradigm shift. It's all about the change, the evolution.
Yeah. You had that in mind when picking this song.
Wow, I don't know, it's just all of your expertise going so carefully into these pools. Like, if you just look at around every wee corner, there's just something waiting to be found, and you laid it all there out for everyone.
We leave little breadcrumbs. When I choose a song, I smell the song, I taste the song, I make sure it fits perfectly, and then we map it. Okay, you got this last part here, that's just a bunch of repeating triplets into a biplet. That's kind of hard, actually.
Yeah, for sure. That reminds me a lot of reminds me a lot of a map from JOKE3. It was quarterfinals, I believe. Guitar vs Piano. That's it. I couldn't remember the name. But yeah, that map was pretty much just non-stop triples for the entire time, and really favored full alt players compared to kind of your semi-alt. So maybe this will be kind of like an instance where it'll play more towards like full alt players compared to semi-alt players. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. But here's Rise 2.
This is
Prismatic Lollipops.
Well, we're just so insane.
It is. Yeah, we just it's like we know what maps are playing right now. This map is 202 BPM. This is, I think, the fastest Rise map so far we've had, aside from speed. And
alright, throwing in some LNs as well.
Yeah, or those little accents. But despite it being as fast as it is, it's actually a little bit of an ACK map, because the rhythms are very simple.
Yeah, putting the OD up to 7 does make sense for something like this.
And it's mostly just 5-flits and triplets.
Yeah, I also noticed that it's really short again as well, very similar to Play Poker from last round.
Yeah, even shorter.
Yeah, 1 minute 25 is not a lot of time. Any misses, it's going to be pretty devastating towards people's final scores. Every Marvelous will count.
Yeah, and some people are more prone to, I guess, key locking on these more high BPM triplets. So I guess we'll see how that turns out. But here is a Rise free straight away. It is Crystal Illusion, I'm pretty sure.
No idea.
This, I think, is 170 BPM. The metadata hasn't updated yet. But that is just my guess. 175, I was close. That was a pure guess. I've never seen these maps before. Yeah, this is almost like a, I guess, stamina pick. I mean, as stamina as you can get outside of stream.
Wow, yeah, this is definitely the most dense race that we've seen so far. Just like way more difficult. We have streams in there almost.
Yeah. But again, the patterns are quite simple. There are almost no doublets or even patterns. But it is a little bit of a... It is not a 1 minute map. It is over 2 minutes, so you do have to kind of be careful.
Yeah, good length for a tournament. Kind of pick.
And you also gotta... It makes it hard to keep focus towards the whole thing. Oh, okay, never mind. There are some even patterns. Quite a lot of them in this section, actually. Kind of reminiscent of I'm For You, the tiebreaker of last week. That wasn't played. So I guess not many will recognize this.
Yeah, people haven't had enough practice on them, so it's going to be the first opportunity to really sort of play towards a kind of more even focus map. And there it is. Definitely a lot more difficult than the other two, but, you know, still kind of opportunity with like the higher seeded players for sure.
Yeah, and that only leaves one Rice map. This is the stream map. And yeah, this is 10 BPM faster than what was the last stream map? It was the Hyun song. Whatever it was. Yeah, they were very like clouds and stuff. This is 10 BPM faster. It also has it brings back the occasional 1.6 with the qualifier stream map had.
Oh no, that's gonna trip a lot of people up.
And yeah, since this is 10 BPM faster, it's also 10 BPM harder because it's stream.
Yeah, players are really gonna have to make sure that they've been practicing their stamina.
Yeah, these streams definitely don't let up. They are long.
On the 1.6 isn't even just at the beginning or the end of the patterns, in the middle of them as well. Got some funky accent LNs.
Yeah, they kind of help you remember where you are in the grand scheme of the stream.
I think that makes sense. It should help with players leading into the 1.6 pattern.
Yeah, and now you have a small break with these little doublets heading into the final stream section. This one has some very long streams. I think some of these reach 100 notes.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to help with breaking up the stream skill on the higher seeded players, because we saw quite a lot of players getting very close to maximum score. purely kind of coming down towards like the very, very high ratios. So having way more opportunity for choke as well as the stamina just being more difficult should present a much greater challenge to them, and should hopefully still be doable for the players in the lower bracket.
Yeah, this one is definitely a step up from last week. But that
good,
brings us to the LN maps.
Ooh.
And we start off with Treat.
What a treat.
So this map is actually very similar to Lemon from last week. Almost the same BPM, or maybe even, well, I think it's like 1 BPM off. And it's kind of like the alt BPM of this round. Like the alt LN map.
Mm-hmm.
That's just gonna have a bunch of 1/4 with varying LN lengths.
Okay, so that's kind of where the difference is then. Because with Lemon, most of them were kind of the same length. With the occasional ones that were kind of double the length on the held notes, but let's see what it's doing. Oh, yeah. There we go.
This is where we introduce the varying snaps.
Very similar to Sparxe from JOKE3 by Voices. That map played very heavily into varied LN lengths based off of the pitch in the song.
Yeah, and that was in semi-finals of JOKE3, so our LNs have stepped up a little bit.
Have you decided that everyone is too good at them then?
Well, maybe not that. It's just that they were just too easy compared to our ice maps.
That makes sense. You need to kind of ensure that our LN players in the tournament still have something that they have the opportunity to shine on and secure points on. And that seems like a really great way to do it.
Yeah.
And the second LN map will be Faster by Good Kid.
Yeah, this is a lot faster BPM. In fact, last week we only had slow LNs, with Lemon being like 111 BPM and Turbo 128. This is 182, so it's a first, I guess, kind of speed LN. So
yeah,
it might
take
be
a bit of time to get
a little more
to,
comfortable.
Yeah, it could go either way. Players might kind of struggle with understanding the release timings, but in another way, players might find it more comfortable as it's at a more normal BPM. This is also personally one of my favorite featured artists in the game, so pretty happy to see them represented in the pool.
Yeah, we try to include a bit of variety when picking songs. It might not always seem that way, but I think we managed to pick out a lot of hidden gems, so to speak.
Yeah, and this one's a bit of a longer map, coming at just over 2.5 minutes in length. So not only do you have these difficult LNs, you have to be able to uphold your skill on them for quite a while.
Yeah, and you also gotta just make sure not to trip up on these occasional triplets and also fiveplets, because they are 182 BPM. They're not that easy. And here we have another varying LN length section.
Yeah, our replayers struggling a wee bit on them, still holding very high accuracy, so it's definitely doable.
And here's the hardest or densest part. That was an even plat into another even stream. It was like 6 notes into the stream. Yeah.
With enough practice, should be fun.
It's pretty easy.
Well, if players think, that rice looks a bit too easy, and oh, that Ellen looks a wee bit too easy, let's put them together with Hybrid 1.
Ooh. Aeronautica. So, we used to have tech and hybrid. But those were essentially just kind of the same thing. They were just kind of rice and LN combined. Only that
what am I seeing already? These triplets.
Yeah, this would be what used to be kind of a tech category. So this is the slower, more technical hybrid. And yeah, you can already see it's like 140 BPM, and a lot of very different snaps. I think the OD is a little lower to compensate for it, but not by much.
Yeah, this one being an OD 5.5. Oh,
yeah,
those are
no metadata yet, but we'll get there eventually.
Oh, right, yeah. OD. Oh, there we go. Just OD5 then.
He's a slapping part of the song. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, probably the most snapping variation we've seen in a map so far.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. So, gives players an opportunity to practice for what may come in the future. But having your mixed kind of snappings mixed in with LNs as well, it's going to be a pretty difficult map to approach for all of our players.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a hard one. But the second one, I think, is not as bad. It's Boss Time, dude, by Ethereal.
It is Boss Time.
It so is. And it's 200 BPM, so very fast for a hybrid.
Kind of perhaps a bit of a speed light then you could consider it.
Yeah. We've mainly also the pool size I think has changed. I could be wrong, but I think there's 3 hybrids. I could be wrong though.
It definitely has changed because you have 3 rice maps and there was only 2 in the previous round, so. This map featuring a lot of doublets, I'm noticing, and at 200 BPM, those are not going to be easy.
Yeah, luckily they are 1/6 doublets, not like what I would do, where I'd just put 1/8 doublets no matter what.
That would be a bit harsh, I think.
So they're a little more lenient to hit.
Alright, players get a bit of a break at the halfway mark. Perhaps an opportunity to peek at their opponent's scores.
And a long stream, and that being 200 BPM is pretty difficult.
Throwing in some even clip patterns as well. This really is a bit of everything.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a full LN section other than those 1/4. So you got a lot of holding to do there.
Yeah, fortunately the outro is looking a bit more simple. Just gotta keep your nerve, keeping up the combo, keeping up the ratio. But it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, oh, and there is a third hybrid. We got Fever
is.
Dream by Fiend. So yeah, what I wanted to say before was, now that we have 3 hybrids, we're usually gonna like be covering the whole BPM range with the hybrids. There's gonna be like one slow one kind of faster one, and then this one that's sort of in the middle at 170.
That seems like a very fair way to do it.
Yeah, and this one has streams. Quite a few of them. It starts off with a rice section, actually. But then it kind of moves on to these LN streams with some holds at the end.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful that you don't overstream those. And those are going to be incredibly difficult to maintain a good accuracy on. And the 1-6 as well.
Yeah,
oh
1-6.
No.
And some of these streams, not very often, but some of them end off-band. And that's kinda tricky. If you have an offhand, that is.
True.
Some 1/8 releases there.
Oh no.
Very tight.
Yeah, really managing to bring in every kind of possible kind of skill set into the hybrid maps this boat. I assume with an increase in pool size, it'll be first to 5 for this upcoming round, right?
Yeah. Here's a full LN section. Not a single rice node to be seen.
Need to get used to reading blue notes instead of white ones.
One last rice to end it off.
Yeah, player with a V1 double S, so should be good. And what do we have here?
That brings us to speed. We have reverse clock. Don't forget the L. This is 270 BPM. So
that is very high.
Big step up, but it is a lot less dense than the last speed map. So it's a little bit of a trade-off.
I have some 1-3 in there by the looks of it.
Yeah, they're mostly just at the start. I think they might show up again later. But the main focus are these short 1-4 bursts that are very isolated.
Even showcasing a 5-clip there and another one. Fortunately for the players, they are isolated, but going to be pretty tricky to hit.
Yeah, you need some burst speed for these. But again, a bit of a short one. So I guess that's good and bad. Good is that you don't have to be fast for too long, but the bad thing is that if you miss, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, for sure. I believe speed was a decently popular ban in round of 32, so it'll be interesting to see what players think of it this time.
Yeah, could have been the length. But here's SV.
Alright. From what I have here in my notes, SV is a bit different this time. Last time, pretty sight readable.
Yes.
I think you might need a wee bit more practice for this one, though.
Yeah, the SV from this point on is gonna be pretty difficult to read. You get some of these teleports that are just very fast and instant.
The rhythms do look very simple, though.
Yeah, it does have a few of these kind of offbeats, but nothing more than 1/4. You have some longer streams there. This part's that part's kind of confusing. Like, it's slow jam, but it's also kind of like inching forward. It's kind of hard to time.
Yeah, it does look very doable with enough practice. And there is always the option just to ban it as well, but you know, there's always that trade-off that if you practice it and your opponent doesn't and it's left open, then it's a pretty free point, so it could be worth the risk.
Yeah, and in this pool, there are harder maps than this in terms of just being able to play them.
Yeah, I often find that like SV or gimmick maps are a really great option for lower seeded players, because they're not too mechanically difficult. It's all just kind of more to do with a bit of memorization and kind of your rhythm sense and everything. And you know, at this stage in a tournament, we know everyone has some of that. So I definitely say great option for the lower seeded players in the matchups. So just give it a go. And
oh boy,
what is this?
Tiebreaker time.
Our tiebreaker? This isn't a featured artist.
Oh, oops, got flushed. This is a Zinnober. By me, originally the IGTS 2021 Grand Finals tiebreaker. It is my song, so we can use it. I've decided.
That's very, very kind of you to donate your song to be used in JOKE3 this year, as opposed to JOKE3 in the other years.
Yeah.
So here we have it. 4 stars, 5 minutes long, 180 BPM, and since this is a custom tiebreaker song for another tournament, you know it has absolutely everything in it to ensure that it covers as wide a range of skills as possible.
Yeah, so not only did I pick this to boost my ego, it also just covers a lot of different styles and BPM ranges. So it starts off at 180 BPM. It had that little tech drop at the start. And now it has a quite streamy, bursty section here. That's going to lead into some 1/3 160 BPM section.
Alright, so we also have BPM changes with this one, and I do know the song, so I'm aware of the other things that go on, perhaps towards the end of the map, but we'll leave that a surprise for everyone.
Yeah, let's just say it covers basically every skill set, except SV. Here's a bit of a longer stream section. 160 BPM, so...
Triple bear.
Oh, it was, into an LN hold.
Oh no.
I would say this map is very hard. I actually kind of struggled to get this replay.
So this is the Lucimian in a perfect world.
Basically, it moved on. It moved up around. This is the ultra technical section. This switches between a 1/4 1/8 half and a 1/3 1/6 half.
I think it does definitely make sense to have a significantly more difficult tiebreaker at this section of the tournament. This is the first round that we're going to be cutting players out. The ones in the losers bracket that lose their match, they're gone, they're out. So if there's a situation where a match is getting to tiebreaker, these players really need to prove that they are the stronger player and they're the ones that deserve to continue on through the tournament. So
they gotta earn
a very difficult tiebreaker is a great way to do that. As you said, they've got to earn it.
And I guess you could also look at this as a look into quarterfinals. It breaches the gap. But here's the main chorus. It's back up to 180 BPM, so this is very, very stamina draining. Especially with some of these 1/8 releases on the LNs.
Yeah, it's already gone on for so long, and there's still an entire quarter of the map left to go. Rapidly approaching 2,500 combo. Probably going to be exceeding 3,000.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten to the last part, which will feature one more BPM change. But first we have this little piano stream section with some even patterns as well. And the guitar versus piano callback once again with the triplets.
Alright, here we go. It covers all skill sets. We're speeding it up.
Speed? From 180 BPM all the way up to 240.
Yeah, so not quite the 270 of our actual speed map, but you've already been playing for 5.5 minutes. You're going to be tired. So enjoy the 240.
And the final bursts here. A lot of fire flits.
And if you manage to survive all that, congratulations, you'll probably make it through to the quarterfinals.
Probably.
But we've got a long time before then. We've got the whole week ahead of us to practice. And then the weekend for the matches.
And yeah.
So I guess
hope...
like the... go ahead.
I hope you enjoyed that poll and found the difficulty to be appropriate. And
yeah,
I hope you also
looks good, I think.
Have fun practicing it.
I guess just the final things, you know, the schedules and all that will be released at probably some point within the next kind of 24 hours, and then you can do all your reschedulings and that if needed. You should be able to already view who your opponent will be. So, yeah, look at all their scores, think about how you can improve upon theirs, think about how you can eke out the victory, and advance on through JOKE3 Paradigm Shift.
So until next week, see you next time.